Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Champion Spotlight, Breakdown, and Pitches for Improvements. Today's character is one that desperately needs to be revisited and reworked, and that is Juggernaut. Now, Juggernaut is a very powerful character canonically because, well, there's not really a whole lot anyone can do to deter him from just moving, because he has unstoppable inertia, and that's just kind of the way that he works. And he has definitely taken a back seat in this game in terms of how well and accurately he is represented. So we're going to break down how he currently works and then discuss some of my opinions for things that can be done to make this character a lot better and a lot more relevant. As we jump into this, make sure that you check and see if you're subscribed to the channel. If you're not, go ahead and fix that real quick, because I have daily videos coming to fill your subscription feed. And if you feel like today's video was helpful and or enjoyable, make sure you hit that like button. So, Juggernaut has a couple of items that are in his base kit. First off, he just has increased resistance all around, which I feel like is something that could be further explored with his resiliency, or have some method of stacking that. We'll talk a little bit more about that later. And at the start of every single fight, he has an unstoppable buff, which will last for a few seconds, deter him from being hit or struck. Well, it doesn't mitigate all of the damage that he takes from that, but he will not be pushed back into the corner, and he can retaliate immediately out of that. He's also immune to the effects of stuns when an unstoppable buff is active on him, and that will apply a passive stagger that is the same stagger that you see activate off of his heavy attack, where any buff that activates in that next 8-second span will not activate and will be nullified instead. There's that mention of the heavy attack thing. Every single time he lands a heavy attack, he has a 100% chance to apply one of those staggers to the opponent. And the only other really notable thing about his base abilities and kit is he has an 11% chance to gain a Fury buff when he is being attacked. Unfortunately, that does not factor into when he is doling out attacks, but rather when he is being attacked uniquely. The final item that we need to cover with his abilities is his signature ability, which is the Unstoppable ability that he is very well known for, and that simply means that whenever Juggernaut has activated a special attack, he will regain or gain that unstoppable buff for a few seconds after the attack itself, and I believe that goes up to 4.5 seconds or so off of the activation of a special attack. His special attacks themselves, his special 1 can catch some people off guard. The special 2 is very easy to predict, bait out, and get away from. And of course that special 3, in my opinion, it's a very lazily animated special attack, but it does kind of make sense because this character hasn't been touched or overhauled really since the game initially came out and this character was usable. The biggest thing that was changed about him is he is no longer able to be stunned. That was a recent addition in the past couple of years, but apart from that, he hasn't received any love and really deserves to have something better done with his character. The first and very simple thing that I think you could do with Juggernaut is you could give him a dash back and hold block mechanic to activate an unstoppable buff that is about comparable with the other items, which is comparable in its duration to the other unstoppables that he has, but it would also allow you to, take advantage of being able to profit off of having unstoppable, and then of course you would need to have a passive cooldown for that particular ability, and I feel like that one would work really well inside his own realm of attacks. The other option, if you don't want to have it on a dash back hold block type mechanic that I had thought up, is to give him the unstoppable when he intercepts an attack, or to play kind of like Call Obsidian, where any unstoppable that he has a paused duration when he is actively in a combo against his opponent. So not when he's hitting into their block, but when he is physically making contact with them, you can pause the duration of that unstoppable buff, and then have like a quarter of a second or maybe a half second cooldown after that, where after that combo has finished out, it will resume the timer on it. So if you are able to get a relentless sort of attack of the backdraft intercepting that's become more and more common and more necessary, in my opinion, then it will certainly help to bolster and boost his relevance. I also feel like it would be beneficial to have an additional physical resist or armor rating applied whenever he has that unstoppable active, because he's not supposed to be someone that you can take down very easily. Now, I don't want to make him too overpowered, which is why I'm suggesting that the buff remain as a buff itself and not a passive buff, because if it were to be transitioned over to a passive type buff, then characters that are good counters to him, such as She-Hulk and Captain America Infinity War, wouldn't really be able to be as hard and as heavy as a counter to him as he currently is. But those are just a couple of items that could be done to rework the passive, to rework the unstoppable mechanic that Juggernaut possesses and is canonically known for. I also feel like it would be beneficial for a Fury buff to be applied off of the attacks that he doles out, give him maybe that same percentage chance to gain a Fury buff either when receiving attacks or when landing hits on the opponent. I don't feel like that would be too overpowered, especially where it's only a 6.5 second duration on that Fury buff. That's something well within the scope and realm of possibilities to do with this character. The real big thing that I would love to see happen to Juggernaut is I would love to see him reanimated. I mean, his standard attacks, his heavy attack, those types of things, they do well for him, so I'm not, dying to see those overhauled, but I would absolutely love to see his special attacks be given a bit more love and made a bit more difficult and a bit more of a challenge to especially the veteran players in this game, because he's been such a low-hanging fruit and a dim light for a very, very long time, to the point where most every veteran player has him in some rarity, if not in a 5 or 6 star variant, and he really just needs to be overhauled and reworked and made better and more relevant. And it wouldn't hurt to give him more damage outputs or give him a passive Fury when he has his unstoppable active as well, because that's just kind of the whole rage with the Juggernaut's canon, is when he gets going, you cannot stop him. So I feel like reworking that type of a mechanic into him wouldn't be a far cry, and it also wouldn't overtune him to the point where he would then be a must-have or unnecessary character. But unfortunately, I don't see him getting revisited anytime in the near future, though if he were to be, I would 110% be on board for making him more of an impending threat and a better character all around. But what do you think? Do you think that Juggernaut's fine the way that he is, or are you in the same camp that I am, that he really needs to be shown some more love and overhauled to be made a lot more relevant in the current meta of the game? Be sure to let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. And again, if you made it this far into the video, make sure you leave a like on it, and don't forget to subscribe to that daily variety content I have coming your way. Thanks again for your time, and I hope that you have an absolutely fantastic rest of your day.